Hello, we'll talk now about an interesting architect from South Korea, Hoon, our contemporary, the happy destroyer, as he calls himself. I like this very much. I like oxymorons and paradoxes. So the happy destroyer is something that I appreciate. And then here you have a map with some of his works, but this this map I included in the presentation a few years ago. In the meantime, um, he probably discovered other, I mean, built other buildings in other places. I like this picture of him, and I like you know, the, the opening in the wall. It's actually not very different from the room where I talk right now. Um, Hello, Mr. Hoon or Mr. Moon. Rocket Suda, what is this? It's a complex of a few buildings. I'm not going to read the text, but he actually planned a large group of housing, I think, but he managed to build these, which are very unusual, as you can see. I mean, a building with horns, probably no one else in the world ever built a building with horns, but he did. South Korea, Hoon, in the mountains. He loves ornament, he loves, I think there is a certain relationship between his architecture and cyberpunk architecture. Hoon, inventing all the time. An architect without too many inhibitions. A disco kind of interior, but within a house. The happy destroyer, Hoon. A happy family house. Well, suspiciously, too often the word happy shows up. Um, there are interesting things here, happening. Look at that child on that large table, and also the way the books are displayed. Where the stair, becomes a library as well. The happy family, Hoon. Sweet villa, and sweet it is, maybe too sweet, but better than the buildings on the left. Punk, the interior a little bit whitish, I think, but towards the outside is different. Another villa, Hoon. It's a school, I think. Oh, no, still a house. As I said, I'll go quickly because it's a very long material and someone from the audience has to leave soon. So please allow me to accelerate. The Wind House, a very provocative house. Here it is. You look at the buildings around this one and you wonder, how could this be? This is a room that, you know, in the head of that strange animal. That's the building. I wonder what the neighbors feel and think. Yes, he's exploring surrealist ways of doing architecture. The Happy Destroyer. There is artificiality, but there is also organic, an organic approach to architecture. So, yeah, there are all kinds of tensions here between and contradictions actually. Does surrealism have a place in architecture today? I would say it does. It could have. And this is an example. Hoon. This is a risky enterprise in architecture to bring figuration and, you know, this kind of figuration into architecture, which is an abstract art. But I think he avoids the pitfalls of the risk taking. We are here inside the magical head. Moon Junction, two Moon Junction is the, you know, you have is a building with two moons, and I think it's an interesting building. Two moons indeed, or a moon and a Hoon. This is another interesting house. It's called the simple house, but it's not so simple actually. Sculptural, vigorous, concrete. And the books around the staircase. Are all those diagonals necessary structurally? Perhaps not. But aesthetically, I think they add something to the building. A certain ideality, actually. As if the building is derived from some kind of a Platonic solid, and is not. I mean, the building could have functioned without all these things on the left and the right, but with them around, this constellation of capricious, concrete elements, I think the house is much richer and much more interesting. Look at this section. So not everything that is, uh, not everything that is unnecessary is vicious for architecture. Again, we remember what John Ruskin said, that the most beautiful things in life and in nature are those that are the most useless, like the peacock's tail. And here we see these things which are useless. But, but because of them, the house is much more interesting. Again, I think because it evokes an ideality uh, which would have been uh, potentially could have been connected with what the house actually is. Strelka.com, this is an innovative school of architecture in Moscow. And a student from there went to work for Hoon for a while. And that's her name, Alisa Silantieva, told Strelka magazine why architectural inspiration should be sought in food rather than in buildings, what it felt like working at the South Korean avant-garde practice Moon Hoon. And here they are, Moon Hoon on the left and the Russian student on the right. Moon Hoon creates housing with owl-like features in South Korea. You see here the owl abstracted, but you can see it. The owl building. That's probably the architect. And some drawings by him, he has a fantastic way of drawing, and not with the help of a computer, no digital working, although in his projects he does employ the digital culture of our time, but he makes handmade drawings quite personal and quite interesting. This is his manner of drawing, combining text with cyberpunk silhouettes, cyberpunk buildings. Hoon's sketches merge fantasy with reality, contrasting tranquil urbanity with spectacular chaos. He loves to draw. So yes, there is a cyberpunk sensibility at work here. And the surprising thing is that he actually builds, and he builds, quite often. And there are buildings that are very similar to what his drawings envisioned. He truly allows his fantasy to go wild. This house was built, and we are going to see it. It is a house, the grayish part, surrounded by those vectors, black and red. This one, we saw an approximation of it. It seems Hoon tells us, be wild. Or to remember what Cyark in Los Angeles advocates, to hell with regulations. Let's explore the unknown. We are going for the unknown, not for the regulations. Body architecture from doodle constructivism, Hoon. Body architecture from doodle constructivism. Like his imagination is wild indeed. This is an interesting house built. Some kind of a hostel, I think. And it's interesting that balcony there up in the sky, which was made to contemplate the ocean from. A great cafe. I think he has a lot of fun and a lot of joy in creating these buildings. I mean, if you compare the building on the right with the building on the left, you can see two approaches to architecture. The one on the right is morose, sad, timid, restrictive, and the one on the left is exuberant, is, searching for a horizon of hope and the horizon of creativity. Well, I don't see the ocean. Maybe I was right. I was wrong. Sorry. Maybe you just contemplate the city from there. red and black, black and red, life and death, death and life. Well, an architectural event with these three windows. An interesting idea. Four windows, maybe more than four. Yes, it's a hostel, maybe a youth hostel. No, I think there is the proximity of the ocean there. I had seen an image anyway. The drawings, many drawings, which I took from Arch Daily, they show very scrupulously all the drawings, but I should have shortened the presentation. Sorry about this. Another playful building by Hoon. Dancing windows. Dogok Maximum, another building by him. The diagonals, of course, are ornaments on the facade. We saw a drawing where I mentioned the vectors, black and red. Well, that's the building. So why shouldn't an elevation look like this? Why should we only have, straight walls and no deviations from the planar reality of the world? So the building expresses the conflicts, the tensions of the contemporary life. Thus, it is a contemporary building. That's the drawing we saw. He's certainly a homo ludens. He loves to play in architecture. And he does interesting works. Not everybody is equally lucky, but then he provoked his own luck by exploring in an exuberant way all kinds of architectures. Conan House. I don't know. This drawing might not have anything to do with the house, or maybe it does. I don't know. But it's a distorted cube itself. I wonder how this man would build for corporations, big corporations. The library is always in the proximity of the staircase and animated with the books and other objects. It's clear this is an architect who loves freedom and fights against the constraints. And invents. The sunk house. Panorama House. We already saw images of this one. The Panorama House is also the happy house, I guess. I presented it before, I think with the name or the title, the happy house. As something of a horizontal, endless column by Brancusi and the happy family with their children, all staring at us, indeed with happy faces. And why shouldn't they be happy when they have this, to to move downwards at great speed and with great joy? Hello, Mr. Hoon. A high school in Seoul, the green one. I think it's better with private buildings than public buildings. But this house, this school also has some qualities. Perhaps he had less freedom in creating the school than he had in his private houses. It's a public building after all. I'm sure he faced some rules and regulations here. Dong Muti House. Well, these are renderings by him. And he covered the house in this mesh, steel mesh. These veils, these architectural veils, I think are very lucrative and very convenient for changing the aesthetics of the building. So I would personally encourage the use of veils, as I call them, or masks, create a second facade. You make the building in one way and then you veil it, like he does here. So you have two layers. Louis Vuitton Church, this was a project that was not built, but the very title is provocative. The maker, the designer of expensive bags. What does it have to do? Well, a friend of his, he told him that this is like a Louis Vuitton church. It was not built. It does look a little bit like the bags, the unapproachable bags of Louis Vuitton. It's like a secular building which ludically displays a constellation of crosses on all elevations. Now, is the person on the right truly a believer? We don't know, but the theatrics of faith. What is this? Another building by Hoon, another mesh, another mask, another veil. But the joy of building is always present in his work. He does know his craft. The things come together, I would say, convincingly from an architectonic point of view. Even essays in high-tech architecture, he does them properly. But then in the drawings, what does Superman do here? Maybe the students in the School of Architecture should indulge in such drawings in their projects, bringing in Superman, another house. Built red and white, and the grayish landscape in the picture. But this house, as you see towards the outside on this floor, has a red curtain. When it has it. And I see in the two pictures below that the curtain receded. There is exuberance here, no doubt. The black cat, the curtain, the slanted columns, the stone wall. Down with seriousness, we are really approaching the end. We have a few more images to look at, but I thought that after showing images of the work of Hoon, to read this text by the great German architect Bruno Taut. Down with seriousness. Hop, 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 my sweet little horsey. Hop, hop, hop. Where do you want to go? Over that high wall? Well, really, I don't know. Hop, 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 my sweet little horsey. Hop, hop, hop. Where do you want to go? Away with the sourpuses, the wailing willies, the sober sides, the brow furrowers, the eternally serious, the sweet sour ones, the forever important. Important, important. This damned habit of acting important. Tombstone and cemetery facades in front of junk shops and old clothes stores. Smash the shell lime, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian columns. Demolish the pinheads, down with the respectability of sandstone and plate glass, in fragments with the rubbish of marble and precious wood, to the garbage heap with all that junk.
Sorry, but we can't hear you anymore. You are muted.
Can you hear us?